Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. And in today's video, this is our seventh Obelisk platform update. And we're super excited to talk more about the current state of the architecture, some code updates, and specifically go over the current progress that we're making on the Clanker V1.1 agent, which is live right now, but we will be doing some more optimizations to it in the next couple of days. So let's get right to it. First thing, I'm going to do a quick overview on the code for those of you guys that maybe want to contribute, or if you want to modify any of this to fit your own personal needs. As remember, this is open source. Again, the UI is all of this stuff that you're seeing, all this visual editor stuff lives in the UI folder. So if you need any modifications there, TypeScript right here is the engine. That's the back end engine that contains all of the logic to execute the nodes. So if you want to actually modify any of these nodes, for example, you want to modify the Clanker nodes or the buy nodes, if you want to modify anything, it's all open source right here. You can take a look, and we're going to organize it better, but it's like this for now. And we also have in the SRC folder, which we need to move to the parent folder, inference. This is the inference server here in Python. So you can run inference locally on your machine. Recently, we added the VLLM optimizations because we are running this on a GPU server. And with the VLLM optimization, we managed to get 10x the output. So we managed to output 200 tokens per second instead of 20 tokens per second, which means that our inference is a lot faster now. So that's kind of it for also, we have Docker is for hosting the agent locally on your computer. If you want to host it with Docker, this is perfect. Makes it easy to look at the logs, start and stop the agent. Also, the blockchain service. This is the way we abstracted away all of this logic of tracking new launches and doing swaps and also detecting, tracking everything, doing buys and sells. So we have the block processor, which processes all the blocks and detects all these new Clanker launches for V4 specifically. We also have the Cabal swapper, which integrates our own custom contract that we wrote. So this is where the contract is deployed. So this bot uses our own contract to do the swap. It just makes it easy to execute and sell the swap on V4. If you wanted to switch the contract or do something else here, very easy. You can just modify these functions to call a different contract with different parameters. So that's about it for the blockchain service. We did abstract all of this away as we have a blockchain service that users can interact with that we hosted for you guys. So let's dive straight into the workflow here. As you can see now, it's executing. So you're seeing we have when nodes light up, that means that their nodes are active. So that means it's running. So as you can see this first loop here, it's kind of running here. And what's going on here exactly is it's a bag checker. So we redesigned it a tiny bit. Specifically, we added a 1 second timer delay here. So if you remember from our previous video, we had a very similar flow, but there's a couple of different changes and upgrades and something I want to mention. First of all, as we mentioned, we have some more configurations here. So you can set your profit loss and stop target right now. You have the sell timer, profit target, and stop loss, which is set to these values, but you are able to modify this in the deep entry agent dashboard, which we will go over in just a minute. So we did add custom. The sell timer is how many minutes is the agent going to wait before deciding to sell the bag. So right now it's 5 minutes. If within 5 minutes it doesn't hit a profit target or your stop loss, it's going to sell the bag. You can set it to 0 to disable this completely if you don't want to sell it. If you just want to hold it, you can set it to 60, maybe hold it for an hour, for 2 hours. So that's kind of how this works. The profit target and the stop loss is self-explanatory. So that's the one change here. That's why this is running every minute. It's just checking the bags to make sure to see if it hit the profit target, stop loss, or if it hit the sell timer. So it's checking 3 conditions. None of them execute. So this is why the Clanker sell doesn't go through anymore, and it doesn't really update or send any sell notification. It does, you see, turn yellow and green. It does activate, but it doesn't really set notification. And same with the action logger. It's not going to log anything. So this is how this subgraph works. As you can see, it's completely isolated. We could probably do a much better job of showing it to you guys that it's isolated, but this subgraph is fully isolated from the main flow. You see on the bottom here, this is the main flow. So this part is fully isolated. So that's hopefully makes it a little bit easier to think about how this works. So this little loop here is just made specifically for deciding when to buy or sell. Now, if it stops like this for a minute, that means that it's trying to do something. It probably just executed a sell or tried to make a buy. as you can see. So it really looks like almost a brain that's working, especially when you zoom out big picture and you have a couple of these different running. This one runs every 60 seconds. So we have the scheduler node right here, and this runs every 60 seconds. You can stop it here to show you guys. You can set it to 10 seconds. So this will run every 10 seconds, and this will probably be a tiny bit uh, cleaner. But we set it to 60 seconds, and you can modify this to any amount. Will allow you to do this in the Deep Entry AI dashboard. So that's how this works. Again, this flow here is exactly how it was in the previous video with a couple of changes. One specific changes inside of this Clanker launch summary. You don't really see it because there's no real new connections, but what's happening here, it's actually also passing in your current holdings now. So before it wasn't passing this, but in this prompt, you can see current holdings, none. But if you have some holdings, it's going to pass it your holdings. And also we decrease this from 10 candidates to only 5 candidates because we want to reduce the amount of text we send it each time. So now since we're adding holdings, we're going to reduce the amount of Clanker candidates we send, so 5. So now this model is going to have exact snapshot of the current holdings, and it's going to, in the prompt here as well, we modify the prompt a tiny bit, where it's going to look at the P&L. It's going to look at the P&L and consider your current holdings, whether it should make more buys or not. Just speaking of whether it should make more buys or not, because it has the current holdings, you can specify how many open positions you should have at any time. So this also now enables you guys to easily specify in the prompt, okay, if you have more than 2 positions, don't open any more positions. And it will essentially send an action of none and nothing will happen. So this is one feature we just recently added. We still need to deploy it to production, but it is live on GitHub through the latest PR. The other thing we're going to add here before redeploying maybe V1.2, because V1.1, we've done quite a lot of stabilization. The next one is going to be V1.2 for the Clanker Autotrader, is we also want to add trading history. This one will need, again, because it uses the storage instance, the same storage instance that this workflow uses for the bags. So they all share the same storage instance. Even though they're separate workflows, they still both access the same storage, the same memory storage. So it is able to figure out your recent transactions. So right now it doesn't really store recent transactions. So we would need to store recent transactions in the action logger. Again, we have 2 separate action loggers here, one for the buy, one for the sell. So in addition to storing the latest action, it's also going to store the latest transactions. Or maybe you can read from recent actions. But the next part is we're going to add here recent history. So it's not going to buy the same token over and over, let's say. Or you can essentially make a more custom strategy. The idea is for this framework to give the model a very nice context in terms of the current state of the market, your current holdings, and using this really nice state, the model will be able to easily um, do the right decisions. Now, the next part we want to add is, right now, this is the inference config. As I mentioned in the previous video, this can be hooked up to any model. So we want to modify this inference config, or at least our inference server, to have a router where we will offer Mistral AI, ChatGPT, and Claude, for example, as they have quite cheap tokens, and we can probably host these. And when we use a much smarter model than a locally hosted LLM, which we're using QuenB, then all of a sudden this will have a really smart brain hooked up to it. It's going to be able to make very interesting decisions based on a very nice context and the query you give it. The system prompt is what defines its actual strategy. And that's when you can go, let's go back to here, Deep Entry AI. We did some updates here as well. If you can see, if you go to the deploy, let me connect my wallet first. All right, so if you hit deploy here, as you can see, the basics are still the same. We've upgraded to V1.1, and as you can see here, we've added the sell timer minutes, the profit target, and the stop loss, and also we gave you the ability to modify the system prompt. In addition, we gave you some details of an example of what the data that the model gets, so you can kind of see, okay, 5 minutes, but you can look at the 1 minute or 1 hour or even 24 hours. So at this point, you can modify it exactly to your strategy needs. The idea that we want to, again, the Obelisk is a framework, and the idea is we can give you guys the framework, but we can't, and we're not traders ourselves. We're not going to spend a lot of time actually optimizing the optimal strategy, right? So we want you guys to create the optimal strategy and give us some feedback. We're happy to provide a better infrastructure and make sure you have all the data you need. In the future, we're looking to add in additional data sources. Right now, it only looks for on-chain data through this summary. So it's only looking at on-chain data, but it'd be nice to hook up some other outside signals, maybe some other agents even. So that's kind of the basics for what's going on right here in this workflow. Again, these top two, these top nodes, these are the HTTP server. We have two separate flows here. The Express server powers both flows. This first one is the stats listener. This is what allows the dashboard to give stats, to get stats back from the agent, which means recent actions, the current holdings. Then another option is right here. We have the sell all bags. Again, this is completely separated from this subgraph. We have its own HTTP server subgraph in a way, where this other part is the sell all bags, where if it gets this request, it will trigger the sell all bags logic, which will sell all your holdings and it will update the holdings. So that's just the basic logic here. As you can see, we also added a mini map on the bottom right, so to make it easier to navigate, because these workflows are getting complex. And the idea is this is just the beginning. In the future, we can have something twice or three times the size easily and still manage to easily reason about this. As you can see, even here, all of these nodes, yes, it looks complex, but really it's a couple of separate parts that they have some overlapping logic, but not quite. The only kind of some complexity that we still have that is involved is, for example, the storage. To make sure we're not doing concurrent storage writes, because when we're selling all the bags, we're doing a storage write. So if at the same time someone else is buying and doing a storage write, now we're going to have some corruption. So a couple of things we need to work out in our writers, maybe make the storage thread safe. So even if you reuse the same storage node, it's still going to be thread safe. So stuff like this is a little bit of details we want to work and stabilize our platform. But for now, as you can see, we're evolving quite nicely. And please, guys, check out Deep AI if you guys want to check out the token, because once we start releasing these premium agents, for example, that have these custom trading strategies or even custom prompts, you will be able to purchase some custom prompts for your agents with Deep tokens. So, and also, if you guys would like to support this project, as always, make sure to check out Deep AI. And as always, let me mention the Obelisk itself. So for the Obelisk, as I've been talking before, as you mentioned, for deep entry, so 6K volume. But over the past, since the token's launch, this token's gotten around 200K in volume, right? So if we do the same calculation for these Obelisk NFTs, where we're selling the reflection NFTs, we meant to do 2% LP fee, but let's say we do 1% LP fee, this NFT right here. So if we get 200K in fee in volume at 1% LP fees divided by 100 NFTs, each NFT will get $20 worth of reflection. So about $10 worth of ETH, $10 worth of energy tokens. So if you can snag one up right now for 0.01 ETH, which is about $20, you should at the very least break even. The Obelisk platform is actually powering all these agents. We expect it to get some decent volume, at least comparable to one of our latest agents that's been released. I hope that kind of paints the clear picture about the Obelisk. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention really quickly is the Cabal website update. So it's been long overdue. We're following down a really nice Cabal website update where it's a nice UI update a little bit, and better yet, we have better stats tracking specifically for Cabal tokens, and we no longer do our own swap tracking. We actually just use Dex Screener to display all the data, and we've also reworked our swaps a little bit, so they're a lot cleaner with the swaps and make sure that you get the best price from the correct pool on our tokens. So we just reworked a little bit. The deploys as well looks really nice. Again, that's always just a quick. If you want to deploy your own Cabal token, just use the V3 preset. That's how the Deep AI agent was deployed, and how a lot of some most popular agents have been deployed. So just go to Cabal, go to deploy, go to use presets, and use this preset. So that's all you need to do. Just fill out the name and token info. Everything here is pre-filled for you. Only thing I would maybe update is starting market cap. You can update it to any amount, 2 ETH, 1 ETH, up to 200 ETH, but really any amount. And then the dev buy as well. Based on how you set the market cap, the dev buy will adjust and tell you how many tokens you get. So how much percent of the supply. So here's only 0.5% of the supply. So at this market cap, if you want to get about 3%, you would need to buy something like this. So I hope this helps. You guys want to launch your own tokens. It's really easy, 100% free. You just pay for gas fees. Thank you all for checking out this video. I hope you guys get better understanding of what we're trying to build here. And I hope you guys grab your own NFT. See you guys in the next one. Peace.